Hi, this is Kevin King with Pinehurst Websites, and today I'm going to do an overview of PS Touch for the iPhone. And PS Touch is Photoshop for the iPhone. Originally it came out as an app for the tablet, but now it's available on the iPhone, and it's going to be a fantastic app, especially even when they get the larger iPhones available, and it's available on Android as well. So this is a great tool for cleaning up pictures for your website. Let's get right into it so we can kind of show you some of the things that it'll do. So I'm going to open up the app, and I'm going to bring in an item, and I also have an app for my website. So what's great is when I shoot pictures with my iPhone, which I do for my website, I can just clean them up on my iPhone, and I don't have to wait for them to sync through my photo stream. Not that it's that big of a deal, but it gives me a way that I can quickly clean up pictures as to the highest degree that I need to. So let's go through, and I'm going to bring in an item. If you look in the center on the bottom, that's where you can bring in photos, right above the home button, the center icon. And as I tap on that, it brings up Photo Library. So I'm going to tap on the Photo Library. You can sign up for the Creative Cloud for free, and I think they give you 5 gigabytes of space on that, so you can sync with Adobe's Creative Cloud. So let's go ahead and go to Photo Library, and I'm going to go to the camera roll, bring in a couple items, and let's just pick an item down here. Okay, I'm going to choose this tunic right here. And then it's going to take it in from my camera roll. And there's a couple ways we can do this that I'm going to show you so that we get familiar with some of the tools that are available. So the first way that we're going to do it is we're just going to lighten up the product. If you look at the top menu right next to the Done button is the Selection tool. So on Selection tool, you're going to see some of the things that you can use. Some are grayed out because we don't have anything selected yet. The next tool over is the parallel lines is the Adjustment tool. Let's go ahead and use the Adjustment tool right now. And if you look at the bottom row in the center column, you'll see the levels, and that one I use a lot. So if I want to just do a quick cleanup on an item, there's a series of sliders here, and the one I use when I shoot an item on a white background, like I did with this, I just shot it on a white wall and hung it, and this is a great way to shoot apparel, is just slide this top slider over to the right, and as you see, it really increases the exposure and lightens up the whole product. So I just slide it over a little bit, and it brightens up the picture, and it's really probably good enough on this particular one to put it on my website. So what I would do next is I would use the crop tool, which is under the ampersand right here, and I would just go in and crop this image. And the way you crop, what you can do is, because I can't get to, they're called handles, those little dots on the side of the item, I'm going to pinch this in like you would with a photo if you want to make it smaller, and so that I can get to all the handles. And then you just drag up. I'm going to hit on the different handles here, and you just drag them in, and that crops the item for you. And that's really all I need to do to clean up this particular picture. Looks pretty good, and I can just pinch out, and I can get a better look at the item. So the next tool I'm going to show you is in the top right hand corner, and if you want to undo the last action that you did, you just hit that undo button, which is in the upper right hand corner. So that'll undo my crop. And the next thing we're going to use is I'm going to just show you the effects button. If you want to filter an item, these are filters like you would find in Instagram, and then you have tabs for different types of filters. So you have a lot of different types of filters. Let's just show you if you were to put a graphic pen on it. So it creates different filters that you can use. We'll go ahead and cancel this out in the bottom right hand corner, and I just tapped on layers. That's something we'll get to next. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to use one of my favorite tools, the tools that you're familiar with from Photoshop, like the clone stamp tool and the brush tool. They're on the left hand side, and also the selection tool. So the one that I like to use, and I've already got it selected So I'm going to put it back on the brush tool, and as you saw that I changed in the bottom left hand corner to the brush tool, it brought up the icons going across the bottom so that I can control the color of my brush and the size of my brush. So now I'm going to tap on the brush tool again to bring up my other tools, and I'm going to show you my favorite one, which is the third one above. It's actually right above the selection tool. It's called the Scribble Select. It's got a little plus and a check mark. So if we click on that, what I like to do is use this one, and it's going to be set on default at keep, which will create a green line, and you just highlight the area that you want to keep with the green line, and then you tap on the little pencil going across the bottom right above the home button that says remove, and that's going to create a red line. So you just circle around the area that you want to remove, and this is very powerful editing, so it's fantastic that now we can do it on the iPhone. So you look and you're going to see the selection, and it's just pretty much perfectly selected there. But when you cut something out like this, it's going to have a little bit of a digital blocky appearance or kind of hard edges. So what you can do is you can go to your tools on the top, and if you do that, hit the button right up next to the done, you'll see the refine edges comes up on the bottom and the bottom right hand column, and I'm going to just click on that, and this is going to show me where my edges are, and all I'm going to do is trace half on and half off with my finger or with a stylus, and what it's going to do is going to refine that and smooth that edge out for me. So now that's done, I'm just going to hit the check mark in the bottom right hand corner. Now I've got my selection, and it should look pretty much, the selection is going to look pretty much the same if we did it correctly. And that'll be, the selection will be that little dancing line going around the item. And the selection still looks pretty good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the extract, which is also under that little selection tool that's on the right hand side. So it's right in your center column, the third one down below the garbage can for clear. So let's hit the, I'm sorry, it's a little further down, it's on the very bottom of the column. Next we'll be going to the other one. So the extract is on the bottom, and you might not be able to see this well, but now it's extracted it, and it's no longer a white background. If you were to take this item, you can just overlay it in other items, but I'm going to put a background on it. So what I'll do is I'll create a pure white layer on the background so that I have this item extracted onto a white background. So the next thing I want to do before I do that is I'm going to select the selection again and deselect, and that's the one that's underneath the garbage can. So it's in the center column, right in the middle, third one down. And we just tap on that, and now we've got a cutout. Let's go ahead and add a layer behind it, and we're going to use the bottom on the right hand corner. On the bottom right hand corner, it's the layer tool. So that's where we add a layer, and you can see the layer we have. Hit the plus sign and add empty layer, and go ahead and hit done, and now you see on the right hand side you've got another layer that's empty. So with that selected, we're going to hit the ampersand tool in the upper right hand corner and hit the paint bucket, and it's already on white, but if you want to change that, you just tap on color in the center there. So we're going to click OK, and now you don't see anything on the screen. That's because your layer with the picture is below this. So let's go ahead and hit the layers in the bottom right hand corner and just drag that layer with your finger below that layer. Now the picture's on top, it's got a white layer behind it, and that's why you have a pure white background. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to just tap on the picture, and that'll get rid of your layers on the right hand side. And let's just tap on the crop, and we're going to go ahead and crop this down, bring in the sides a little bit. I'm just going to pinch it in again so I can get to those bottom handles and push that in, and now we've got a nice tightly, and you can see on the top it actually gives you a readout of the dimensions on your picture. So let's just say that you've got it cropped the way you want it now. let's say we needed a certain dimension, like eBay requires 1600 on the longest side. So there's a great tool in here. If you go to the ampersand, we can go to image size. It's in the center column on the top row. And let's just change that height to 1600 so that it's uniform with all of our other pictures. So hit the check mark. And it's got to the right of it, you can unlink it, and that would unlink the proportions. But right now it's going to keep those proportions when you have it linked. So if you change 1600, it'll by default change the top width to automatically resize in proportion. So, but if you were creating a blank layer where you needed to create something that had, 1600 by 1600, you could have a blank layer, and then you could put images on top of it, and you would know how big your image was. So it's a good way to really set your image sizes. So the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is to create a border around an item. And again, we're going to use the tools for the layer tool. And if we go to the layers, let's go ahead and first let's just, since we have multiple layers, normally you might bring in a picture that didn't have multiple layers, but so you wouldn't have to do this, but we do have multiple layers. So if you click next to the plus on the layers, and just next to the garbage can, there's another little layer tool, and it gives you the option to flatten, merge down, and merge your visible. So let's go ahead and flatten this, and as you see, it's going to merge these two layers on the right into one layer. So now you just have one layer. So now let's create another layer, and let's create an empty layer, and then click done, and go back up to the upper right hand corner. And what we're going to do now, let's just make sure, I want to make sure that my layers, the correct layer is selected, which is the top layer. What I want to do is I want to change that top layer, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it with a color other than what I currently have so I can see my border. So if I wanted a green border, I would just tap in the green here. But what the color border I do want on this item is going to be black. So let's go ahead and tap on the black there, and then tap on the check mark, and now we have a nice black layer here. So let's tap on our layers, bring the black to the back because that's what I want for the border, and let's go ahead and tap on the ampersand, and this is called the transform tool. It's the 4 arrows going in all directions, and it's right below image size in the center column. So we tap on that. Now this allows us to actually we can move the layers. Actually, I want the other layer selected, not the back layer. I want the top layer selected. So I'm going to go back and select that, go back down to layers, and let's go to the transform tool again. And now if I had an image that was a little crooked and it wasn't, let's just say it wasn't on, I wasn't trying to make a frame here, I could also tilt it using this bar on the side. So now let's go ahead and just push in from the, I'm going to push in from the bottom right hand corner and create a frame border, and now if I slide the image, it will just lock into place, and I've got a nice black frame around it. So click the check mark, and we have a nice little frame on the item, and we can change the width of that by just making it a little bit, we push it in from the side a little bit, and we can make that even a little bigger. So that's how you put a border around the item. So next thing we want to do is we want to show how to save an item. Now if you want to find out more tutorials on Adobe PS Touch or Adobe Photoshop Elements for the iPad or for the computer, you can check out my website, pinehurstwebsites.com. So I'm going to just change this border, make it a little bit more, make it a little wider on the sides. And you can also do this by increasing the size of your canvas, which would be an image size. So, alright, so we have a nice border around the item. Now let's go ahead and hit done, and that's going to allow us to save this. And we're going to save it, and this will save it just in Adobe PS Touch. But what we really want to do is we want to save it either to our camera roll or to another app. So depending on what apps you have on your phone, it's going to tell you which options you have to save it. So you can always save it to your camera roll. And you see it says Untitled underneath of it. If we want to actually name that JPEG, so then when we export it has a name on it, which is good for SEO, of course. Let's go ahead and name this, we'll just call it Tunic, but we may want to name it something more descriptive. But now you can see underneath it has the name Tunic. So if we want to share it, we hit the little share button, and we could save this to camera roll. Let's save right to camera roll, and you just tap on that and then tap on the image. Or we can save, or we can share it, and this will allow us. Now we have to select the image we want to share, so just tap the image you want to share, click OK, and it's going to give you some options. So you can either print this, you can save the image, you can assign to a contact, and across the top you can email it, message it, send it to Twitter. So depending on what apps you have on your phone, let's say you want to save it into Google Drive, you can save it into Google Drive or Box, and you can even probably host the photo. I think you can host photos from Box, and then host them and put them on your website. So that's pretty much everything that you need to know. If you want to find out more, you can click on the link in the description below this video, and you'll find more tutorials on pinehurstwebsites.com about doing things to increase the SEO and to create better images for your website. So if you need a website, check out pinehurstwebsites.com. You can also check me out at Kevin King Now on YouTube and also on Google+. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this was helpful for you, and please like and share it. Thank you.